We live? We live! Hello and welcome to Beyond the Big Five live show part 3, multi-sport athletes in quadball. I can't believe I found people who play sports other than quadball, especially ones that play so much quadball that play other sports. But here we are. I found the unicorns. I am here with Peter Lawrence, Tad Walters, and Joanne Lam, and we're going to talk a little bit about quadball, but we're mostly going to talk about other sports because, again, amazingly, somehow these people fit in 5 extra sports amongst them, maybe more. I mean, there's other hobbies too. But...
well, that's Joe's sports. I was talking about the one Peter and I play.
So to get started, let's do, and I should say hi, I'm Mary Kimball. I run Beyond the Big Five. I don't really play other sports. I just have other hobbies, like I'm in the garden club. And I like to take pictures of Ultimate and all the other sports that everyone plays, except Ultimate. I've never shot Ultimate. Let's do introductions. Say your name, when you started playing quadball, with what team, who do you play with now, and what other sports do you play? And Peter, let's have you go.
Yeah, 100%. Happy to kick us off. My name's Peter. I started playing quadball in fall 2018 at Middlebury College, the OGE. I currently play with Texas Hill Country Heat. And the other sport that I play is rugby. So I play 15 rugby in the fall and winter and 7s over the summer.
I am Tad Walters. I started playing quadball in fall of 2011. You know how much older I am than Peter. How much taller they are than me. Played at Loyola University, New Orleans. Shout out the Wolfpack. I currently play with Boom Train, as well as the Mexican national team. And I'm involved in the Ultimate community, but I actually play mostly Ultimate.
Cool. My name is Joanne. I started playing in the fall of 2010 with Emerson College. I got you beat there. I play with Boom Train now, but I'm also from Canada, so I also play for the Montreal Flamingos in the Quadball Canada season, and I play with Team Hong Kong as well every 2 years, and I play touch rugby and flag football.
And Joanne, you were just at Quadball Canada Nationals, right?
Yes.
Did your team win?
Yes, we did.
So you have an opportunity to do something very unusual. You could win 2 different national championships for the same sport in 1 year.
Absolutely. Didn't really think about that, but yes, the double
Crown.
I love it. So I know a little bit of Peter and Joanne's origin story about, well, I at least know how they were drawn to quadball. But what about the sport made you want to play for each of you? And Tad, I admit I know nothing about who recruited you, why they recruted you, why you stayed. You just showed up and you were there.
Yeah.
And tell.
I feel like I talk about it all the time.
Tell me, I don't know how I missed this, but tell me also about other sports you played growing up.
Sure.
Well,
I grew up in Texas, so like every other good Texas boy, I had to play Little League Baseball for several years, which was great. I loved it, and then I ended up in middle school switching over to football. I played football from middle school to early high school. I then played tennis for a semester to fulfill my PE requirement after I quit football.
Tennis?
Horrible at tennis. Not my game. Not my game. For us in Texas, sports count as your PE credits because there are also classes for a lot of schools. So we have like a football class at our school as our practice. And so I quit football. I had a semester left of PE to fulfill, so I played tennis for 1 semester. I thought instead of having a backhand, I could just switch hands since I'm ambidextrous. Does not work like that. It's not good. Does not make a good tennis player. Anyway, then I went to college. Quit playing sports. Went to college, Loyola University, New Orleans. Wanted to get back into sports, especially because when I was in high school, I was 4'11" until I was 17 years old.
No,
yeah,
you were not 4'11".
I was 4'11" until I was 17 years old.
My best friend in high school was 4'11". That is so short.
And over the next 2.5 years, I grew to my current height. And so
you must have been buying so many clothes.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. What also tough was that I stopped playing sports during this time period. So not only did I like grow up, I also like grew out. You know, it's like I was chunky, gained a lot of weight, and I also like when I started playing sports again in college, I like didn't know how my body worked anymore. Like I was a pretty athletic kid when I was younger, especially with like the size that I was. But when I like started playing sports as like 6'1" now, and my limbs were longer, like my whole running gait changed. So like I don't think I passed the eye test now. But like even like 19, 20, like people who remember early Tad from like early like Wolfpack Tad days will be like, oh, that dude was like a klutz, like a bozo running around. It was bad, and it was a lot of it was because I just like I had new legs to run in, and like I had shin splints really bad when I started playing. But anyway, so quadball, I had no idea what it was actually at the time. I had read the Harry Potter books for like AR points as a kid and seen some of the movies, but if you had asked me like what Quidditch was, I wouldn't be able to tell you, or anything. Most stuff from Harry Potter I wouldn't be able to tell you. And our rugby team, I really wanted to play rugby in college. Our rugby team, we show up every day at 5 p.m. We practice. And for 2 weeks, I showed up every day at 5 p.m. and they never had enough people to practice. And the people that did practice were just like not fun to be around. And so stopped playing that. Sailing team never emailed me, probably because they smelled that I was poor. I don't know why they never emailed me. Yeah, sailing team was like, did not hit me up in the email response. And then I saw a poster that said Quidditch, it said full contact, and it was about to start. And I like didn't know what it was. I saw full contact. I thought it was like some European sport, like cricket or like Gaelic rugby or something. And so I was like, sure, I'll go check it out. And I show up, and I remember walking up and I see the hoops, and I'm like, no, it's the Harry Potter sport. And I see people running around on brooms, and I'm like, no, it's the Harry Potter sport. And I wasn't gonna play. I was just too stupid. And then I saw a bunch of people I'd met at orientation who I really liked that were there, and I was like, I'm already here. Those were cool people. I'll keep playing. Had a horrible time. The broom was stupid. I still hate the broom. If you're on my team, you can talk about it. I think the broom's still dumb. But I liked the game enough and the people I was with enough to stick around. And then I saw people like kind of falling on each other. And I was like, what are they trying to do? And the captain was like, oh, they're trying to tackle each other. And I was like, you can tackle people? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, game changer. I just start obliterating people. I just start lighting people up. Like,
I feel like this is the iteration of Wolfpack Tad that I'm familiar with, that I've heard the lore about.
People complain now about stuff that I did. 2012 Tad, when the rules were way different, people in general were doing heinous things.
Well, that was when 2-arm tackling was allowed, right? Like back.
No, it was 1 arm, but like people were like launching themselves.
Yeah,
people were like
to tackle someone with 1 arm.
Yeah, it was just throw yourself at them.
Okay.
People like there wasn't even a declared rule yet that like when you beat someone, you had to immediately get off room. So people would run at someone, get beat, and then just keep running through people. And that was like the meta. That was what people did. Like the best beaters in the country were doing that for a while. Like Ryan Peever in Texas State, who you played against in the semis, right? The semis. And at the World Cup, like it was so common back then. But yeah, just the tackling aspect was great. And I was playing keeper at first when I first started playing. I was a chaser and a keeper. And did that for like a year until I remember like this is still a time when like people would put their like worst players at beater because they can't score. And so there's like a meta for like a lot of teams for a long time. And then we started playing like LSU, and they had like Cody LeBeouf at the time, who was like, I mean, don't think he's good now, which he is. Him in his prime was nasty, and underdeveloped quadball was nasty. And so seeing Cody LeBeouf, an actual athlete, playing beater in a completely different game, I was like, I want to do that. So I started doing that, but it was tackling people for sure. I was like, yeah, let's tackle people, and they're like, oh yeah, we play other schools, and we like played LSU or like the Texas team that like, you know, they had like 100 kids try out for their like varsity and JV team, and you see their actual team, and they're all jacked and like actual athletes, and everybody like, oh cool, that's what they could look like, and then I just like bought in from there. But long way around, yeah, I love the tackling, and it was the people I was hanging out with was a big part of it too, because otherwise it was really stupid. still kind of does. Are we joking about it? What?
Yeah, I love it.
Also, back in the day, those brooms actually still had bristles.
They had bristles. The bristles
and those
were
bristles were so annoying.
They got.
You still have them in Middlebury.
You still have the
Middlebury
bristles.
still has bristle brooms in a closet.
In a closet, I was gonna say.
So Middlebury has a closet that has bristle brooms.
Yeah.
It has the Wheaties box that the Middlebury national team that won the first World Cup was on.
Yep.
And it has trophies from World Cup 1 through 5.
Yeah.
All live in Middlebury.
That's
Like, we still have all
That's
of them.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So,
If we ever have a quadball library, it should be at Middlebury in that closet.
we do. So
bigger than the closet, of course.
yeah, we have. It's a pretty sweet closet, but we got
Top tier closet.
It's a pretty elite closet. We got some good
It's built-
space in it.
Built-ins, LED lights.
Yeah,
you know?
it's definitely pretty sick. But yeah, I think I was like I played soccer first, and then we weren't allowed in our household to play the same sport in the fall and the spring. So we had to be multi-sport athletes. So then I went to baseball.
Like your parents were like,
Wow,
That's
yeah.
great.
And so we had to be multi-sport athletes, and we couldn't specialize till high school. And so that's when all the siblings specialized. But I started with that, then played baseball and lacrosse. And then I also skied. So I was put on skis before I learned how to ride a bike. So I did freestyle ski competitions and big mountain ski competitions as a child.
you were putting your body on the line. Oh
yeah,
my God.
I would be like a 12-year-old, like jumping off of cliffs, like competing with adults and stuff.
So your parents don't bat an eye at quadball
No.
or rugby.
The rugby makes them a little bit more scary. But that's what I did. And so I started running cross country because I wanted to get in shape for skiing and fell in love with the people, and then ran cross country all 4 years of high school. So I stopped playing team sports until I started playing quadball. So at Middlebury, in the past, what they used to do is they would have the intramural tournament. And so the World Cup team that won World Cup 1 through 5 was the team that won our intramural tournament. It was not the best players at Middlebury. It was literally whoever won the intramural tournament then would go and ball out at that point in time. So we still did that. And I signed up for it my first year. And I had a conflict, so I didn't attend. And so I didn't show up. And then my sophomore year, I had roommates around the team. I went out. I had a blast. I remember we went to Nash regionals. We all cut our hair, dyed our hair blue. If you find those Middlebury photos, they're gnarly. And we played a 50-minute game, and so we finally caught and we qualified. And then I went to nationals down in Texas that spring, a very similar thing. I like saw the sport, and I was like, oh, cool. There's levels to this. Like we beat Florida on a catch and then immediately played 2019 UT. And we got wiped. And I was like, oh, sick. And so after that, I was like, cool, we're in. Yeah.
All right, skiing, or freestyle skiing, super cool.
That's crazy.
Super cool. So I grew up playing basketball and gymnastics. Gymnastics didn't last very long. Did it for a couple of years until I attempted to do a cartwheel on the beam and dislocated my elbow when I fell off of it. It was really cool for a hot second because I like got up and I could swing my elbow like 360 degrees. And I was like, whoa, this is so cool. And then the pain kicked in and I was like, ah. Anyways, terrible experience. I was in a cast for like 6 months and then just dedicated my life to basketball after that. Played that until like junior year of high school, and then decided to play rugby. Some of my friends were in it and really fell in love with rugby. That was my first like kind of full contact experience. It was sevens in Hong Kong, and played that for 2 years. And then when I went to Emerson College, I tried out for the basketball team, but like I didn't really like the vibe and the people, and so I was like, yeah, you know what, I'll just take a break from it. And I was at the gym, and someone actually, two girls, Alice and Gillette, who you guys may remember the name from.
Team USA 2012,
Yep.
if I remember correctly.
Yep, one of the OGs of Emerson College.
Wild.
Her and a friend came up to me and was like, hey, you ever heard of Quidditch? And I was like, no. Like, I knew it from Harry Potter, but I was like, no. And they were like, well, you should come out and play. And I was like, I don't know about that. We'll see. She's like, just come watch. And I was like, all right, fine. So I went out and watched, and similar to Tad's experience, I watched the first time and I was like, wait, this is full contact? Hold up, huh? And then right away I was basically hooked. I was like, interesting. It's like, first it's co-ed, so it's like a very different vibe than all the other team sports I played. And within Emerson, similar to Middlebury, there was an intramural league. And at the time we had like 5 intramural teams of like 25 to 30 players on each team. So it was the biggest sport in our university. So I was like, all right, let me join. And that's kind of how I got started back in 2010.
So now you all play other sports in addition to quadball. So let's hear about them. But I want to turn the tables a tiny bit and describe the other sports you play in quadball terms. So we're always used to hearing about like, oh, quadball is, I don't know, handball, rugby, and dodgeball thrown together or whatever. Yeah. But how would you describe the sports you play using the quadball context?
Yeah, I would say rugby is just flag runner on pitch with no beaters, and that's all of rugby. So like, you're not.
And like that can be really long because you said you play like legit rugby. No
Yeah.
shame to sevens. It's just
Yeah,
like
so my rugby game is 80 minutes long, 2 40 minutes halves. I've played full 80s before. I've played, and those are, like, rugby is almost like a 2-day tournament in a single game if you're playing 15s. That's what rugby is like. A 2-day tournament where, like, you're not scoring goals and you have to always make contact. You have to always be hitting someone or being hit. That's probably the best way to describe it.
I'll do this the two ways because there's ultimate and goaltimate. Those are the two things I play most often. But for both of them, it's everyone's a chaser. Can't move while having the ball in your hand, and you have to, for ultimate, advance the ball to an end zone and score. In goaltimate, you're trying to pass the ball through a giant PVC arch because niche sports love their PVC. As we all know, you have to pass through a giant PVC arch and someone on the other side, and the semicircle end zone catches the ball. So it turns it almost into like basketball with a disc or quad ball with a disc, if we're using quad ball terms, than it is ultimate.
All right. With touch rugby, I'm going to tag along with what Peter said. The difference between touch rugby and rugby is you have only 6 attempts to get to the end zone, to get a try. And the other thing is flag runner on pitch, nonstop, but you can only pass the ball backwards. So that's a really key part of rugby. And with touch rugby on the defensive side, as soon as you make contact with someone, the entire defensive line has to come back 5 meters before you're onside again.
yeah, it's like if you got beat, but instead of not only dropping the ball, you have to back up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, when you're attacking, you would drop the ball and someone else can pick it up right away. But then the person who beat you, that entire line has to drop back 5 meters before they can defend again. Yeah. And then with flag football, oh man, I had this. Any ideas?
Seeking. It's just
It's basically
Everyone's
like
a
seeking.
seeker.
everyone's a seeker. Everyone's a
Never seeker and
seeker.
flag runner.
It's my-
Everyone's a seeker and a flag
The
runner.
flag runner has the ball.
It's my favorite drill to do with children, only you're playing with adults.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone's a flag runner. And it's like you're playing half court the whole way through, because on the attacking side, you attack until you get to the end zone. So you're basically playing multiple half court sets until it's either a turnover or you score.
So when you're playing these other sports, how are you like on the field? Like, is there a Wolfpack Tad equivalent in Goldspit? Which I have to say, Tad, having watched so much Ultimate, I am tickled.
It seems not conducive to me, right? It seems like it wouldn't work out.
I kind of love it because I kind of feel like I know Ultimate is all about spirit of the game, which is about self-officiating, which is fucking wild. But I love watching the pros like UFA and WL and PUL because it's the closest thing you get to having contact in Ultimate, and I kind of feel like it's sort of fun. But like when you actually play it, I don't think people like it. So like, what do you like when
It's really
you play?
interesting. So it's really interesting. And this is like to me a two-pronged thing, right? One is about, so yes, it is different. Just because I firmly believe that, like, one, playing a contact sport, I think there are different emotions you deal with as a player than a sport where that's not necessarily part of the game. And what happens when you do receive that contact, right? In rugby, no one's getting mad if you're getting very illegally normally tackled. That's just part of the game. In quadball, there's even people, depending on what level you're playing quadball at, you can tackle someone very illegally and they'll still get mad at you for it, right? And in ultimate, there's really just, in general, for all of these sports, recognizing, I think, the level of which you're playing at and what's like expected is really important. And that's something that I think Ultimate has done pretty well, where, like, again, it's not even just UFA and whatnot, even higher level club games, you've probably noticed are a lot more physical. And there's, like, from hearing people talk about playing in like nationals for like the open division, how much more physical it is of a game and the expectations of the physicality versus like even like a pickup league I'm in, or like a weekly league I'm in, or even like a lower level game with people. And those are complaints I'll see for people, not against me, against other players that happen. And Ultimate, I would actually say I've actually used it as an opportunity to be really, really mindful about not making contact. Because in quad ball, like there's so much legality in the contact. You really can do a lot of stuff, even compared to other sports, as far as like the combination thing between grabbing someone, pushing someone, tackling someone. It's not just tackling someone, it's not just these other things, boxing out, all these other stuff. And Ultimate and with Goalty, like especially with Ultimate, Goalty is interesting because it allows some contact. They allow picks and it's controlled contacts. You can post up, you can box out. But even in Ultimate, what's kind of cool about the self-officiating is that you almost have like a gentleman's agreement to what contact you're both allowing, and that's based on the fouls you start calling throughout the game. So like if someone makes a physical play and someone calls it a foul, even if you don't think it's a foul, you talk about it, acknowledge it, you can test it if you want, whatever. But you now have an idea of like, oh, this is the physicality this person's okay with, and there's usually an accepted idea of like this is what's returned on the other side too. I think chippiness and Ultimate comes when that isn't being communicated well or isn't lining up, and that's why you see beefs and Ultimate. Like, I mean, the play we talked about, right? That really famous one that you were next to.
Yeah,
which was one of my favorite plays of all
Club
time.
Championships, Sadie Jaworski was trying to score in the end zone, and another a male matching player set a pick on her or something, and like tried
just made a dive for a play that she probably thought was a little dangerous from her perspective. And she like got in his face afterwards, and he like said some stuff back to her, and it was, to me, it was awesome. She got up in this guy's face, and I was like, I watched it live with friends.
We thought she was gonna spike the disc in his
I loved
face.
it. I was so here for it. And in Ultimate, I remember I was watching with people, and they're like, "Oh no," and I'm like, "This is awesome. What are you talking about?"
I was loving it, especially like as I won't go. Yes,
it was great. I was a big fan. But anyway, like it was interesting. Even like there was a big play a couple of years ago in Chicago Machine. Had a player named Johnny Bansfield who someone scored over him, got up, like stood over him, stared him down, and this guy came over and just pushed him. And he got like a red card ejection, and people were freaking out. They're like, "There's no place in the game for that." And I was like,
ejections like never happen.
Yeah, and they stood on a shipping container outside of the complex and watched the rest of the game. And it was like, I was on ESPN. It's iconic. But like, even the idea of like one push, and people freaked out. And again, the announcers were like, "There's no place in the game for that. That's just wrong." It's so funny because in quad ball, you used to like way harder hits, way bigger stuff than that, and people like whatever about it off. In general, back to what I was saying earlier though, is that a lot of it has to do with recognizing what the expectations of the place are and following them. And I think for quad ball people who are used to playing this contact sport, and like I played a lot of contact sports growing up, or not a lot, but football was a big part of my sports life growing up. So having that contact is there. It's nice to have a sport where you're still like physically engaging with people. So like you're teaming people up still. But having to like be really, really mindful about like, oh, you can't even like really place a hand on someone, or you can't even like, put a little hip on somebody. Like to me, it's like a challenge in discipline. And it's even to the point where I know I'm not elite enough at Ultimate or practice it well enough to like, even like going up to contest for disc. I usually won't even do it at like pickups or at goaltee things in the league, because I know, unless it's a player that's a friend of mine that I know is a physical player, and it's okay to go up for that, I won't go up for it just in case I don't do it correctly and accidentally body people. I'm much more mindful of my physicality in that sport because it warrants it. And so people might complain about me in quad ball, but for the most part, I played pretty clean, especially compared to a lot of players. Like whether or not I'm getting carded appropriately or not, like I might hit hard and I might do things that are like maybe, oh, I can't believe you did that. It's too much. It's legal. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. So like, and I'm not doing these things in fantasy tournaments. I'm doing them at like MLQ matches. I'm doing them at qualifiers. Like I'm not doing this to trick or beat in December. And so people can complain all they want, but like I feel like I scale my level of physicality based on the level of competition and the expectations from other people, which you have to do in sports. I feel like that's how you get these toxic people in pickup sports who are like, this is their life, and it's always dudes. And it's these dudes who are like freaking out, and like I do not yell or argue with anyone in pickup stuff ever, because it doesn't matter at all. Yeah, I get mad at quadball games, especially qualifiers and nationals, because like we pay time and money for this. For what? Some person to not call for someone to ignore a beat, and then someone to like not call beat on them. I'm like, come on, man. Like there's more involved in it, right? So like, yeah, I definitely get a little more fired up in those moments, but I think respecting the space you're in is like a really big part of it. And that goes in a lot of ways. Sorry, that was a big rant.
Yeah, no. And I think that's so important, especially when you're going down the contact or intensity scale. I mean, like Peter, you kind of went like
I went
the purest direction, right? Like rugby is like feral quadball on steroids.
Yeah, the biggest piece of feedback is I'm not physical enough in rugby.
No.
Yeah, that I'm not.
Someone says that
physical
to you with
enough.
a straight face.
Oh yeah, multiple people.
I heard Peter soft, so
It's really interesting. So I've learned how to be a lot more physical playing rugby and how to hit people, but that is something I had to unlock. I am not big in rugby. I am small compared to a lot of the people that are tackling that I have to tackle. So like I'll tackle guys who have like 150 pounds on them and have to bring them down.
Oh my God.
Or maybe even less than like there are big people that play this sport whose single goal is to run through. And so that was a major mindset shift that I had to unlock, where it was like, I also came into rugby and I was like, I don't know. That's how it got me so excited about it. And like this challenge to do something totally new and learn and just completely be like, all right, cool. Like, I'm just going to have to like hit hard. And it teaches you specifically how to hit safe. So much of my early practices were like, Peter, why are you putting your head there? Like, that is not where you want to hit. Like, this is how you have to do it, especially if you're going to hit someone who's running as hard as they can directly at you. You need to line them up right. Like, learning how to double tackle, how to chop tackle. Like, that's the other thing about rugby. You can hit them below the knees, and you can grab them by the back of the shirt and throw them out of bounds. I've done that, hawking people down. Like, that's very different in the way that they play contact. The last match I had 2 people hit me in the air as I was catching a ball and tackling me to the ground. There was no card. There was a penalty, so they had to go back 15 meters. But I got up, was like, cool. I caught the ball. I did my job, and kept on moving. And I think that's one of the really interesting things. It's like that I've taken away, and think I bring something here. It's like you got to get up, and that's the thing about rugby is like you have to get up. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like it's really funny. I was like, yeah, I guess I'll do something that has like exponentially more content. It's fascinating how much content. Oh, the other thing.
Are you more aggressive of a person then?
I don't think so. I think it's more control. The other thing on the fighting stuff.
Yeah.
It's so common in rugby to just grab someone by the front of their shirt and start shaking. And there's going to be no penalty. And there's going to be people running in, grabbing people, like unless like something like it's and that's just accepted. Like the ref pulls the captains over, or in rugby's case, the sir, which is to my understanding, the name of the ref, irrespective of the ref's gender, is just sir in rugby. And they'll talk to the captains, and they'll be like, you listen to the ref in rugby too. That's the other thing I've taken away. Like, there is no back talk to a rugby ref. None. You say nothing to a rugby ref. You accept the captain is the only one that can speak. If you start yapping, you're going to start moving back. And your opponents are just going to get meters and meters and meters, and it's going to be over. So I think, like, ref is a big thing I've taken, and just I think, like, learning, like, I think also, too, like, figuring out how I move is the other really big thing. Yeah. No, that's that.
So I started touch rugby because I was like starting to phase out again since I semi-retired in 2016 and then got pulled back. But I was like, as I'm thinking about quadball, I'm like, all right, like maybe in a couple of years I'm gonna like phase out again. And I wanted something to play that was also a field sport and that I played rugby in the past. And was like, well, I don't really want a full contact sport again. So what can I do that will keep me active during the like kind of lower season or during the winter season, especially in the East Coast where we don't play as much quadball. So that's how I found touch rugby. And the vibe is like similar to Ultimate in the sense where even though we have refs, it's very much also based on like the level of play that you're playing against. So like in real tournament touch rugby style, like the touches can be pretty hard. Like you do have to put a little bit of pressure into it. Otherwise you'll probably just fall on your ass, like from the touch. But when you play like pickup or in Toronto League, you just like someone will put their hand out for that touch, anticipating it. So it's not half as aggressive. So I would say my personality is, I think definitely more, full contact, like aggressive base in quadball compared to touch rugby. And then flag football is a completely different like ball game. I just started that, and the first practice I went to in Hong Kong earlier this year, I caught the ball and then I ran the route and I just kept running without realizing that like they have to try to catch the flag. But I thought I could just like run kind of around them, and even if I like bump into them a little bit, it doesn't really matter. But the people I were playing with also were like kind of beginners and like have not played a contact sport. And so as soon as I kind of ran like halfway into them and they fell, and they were like, hey, this isn't a full contact sport. And I was like, in like the nicest way possible. And I was like, oh yeah. And they were like, if you do that in a tournament, you get penalized for it. Like you, as a ball carrier, have to stop in front of the defender or like juke or whatnot, or make a move. Yeah. So even if you're on the sideline running and a defender, like I'm hugging the sideline, a defender comes and cuts off my route, I can't keep running. Like if I make contact with them, then I'm in the ball. And so from that standpoint, I've really had to learn to like pull back or like know when to start and stop, when to like accelerate, decelerate. Which is interesting because it's, definitely helped make me a better, I think both touch rugby and flag football like brings in various skills that makes me a better quadball player as well.
So let's delve on that a little bit more, because something I've been wondering about is like how akin is switching different sports to like the physical equivalent of like code switching, I guess, where like you're talking about, where like your body understands that you have one way where you operate for quad ball, but when you put on your ultimate jersey, you're going to dial it down, versus like what do you carry with you? So then how that's like part of your inner personality, inner sports persona, no matter what. How do you think your quadball game has changed by playing these other sports, or how has your ultimate or rugby or touch game changed because you played quadball?
I think for me, the biggest change is learning when to accelerate and decelerate, and like when to pull back, and when it's time to go. And I think this is also me growing in quadball based on the amount of years that I played and playing with experience as well. But that's probably the biggest kind of change. But like mentally, it is often a switch, especially because all three sports, they're kind of in season all year round. Like there's never really an off season. And so mentally it's challenging to be like, all right, I've just finished the flag tournament. Now I've got like a month to like get ready for quadball, right? So, but then as I think about that, I'm like, okay, what skills did I practice or improve on at flag in order to be able to translate that to quadball? So like, what routes that I run, and then thinking about like an offense or an half court and be like, hey, I can run this exact route in these situations, and then learning to like implement them.
Yeah, for me, it's a outside of like the mental shift and the physical shift, it's something the ultimate players are really good at is cutting, compared to a lot of other sports, especially the quadball. I think cutting as an off-ball chasing quadball is really bad compared to other sports. I think if you took like the list of like off-ball cutters on like say club teams in the US, like most of you guys are idiots. You have no idea what you're doing, and you like don't know how to play in the open field. You don't know how to guard someone on defense in the open field. That's why everyone plays trees, because they're all bad at defense. And you don't. It's true. And you don't know what to do when being pressed because you're bad at like getting open. It's just insane.
But that's what Ultimate shows you, right? Exactly. Is that because you can't do zone, you can't do trees, you can only do mark.
I am not a fast person. I don't think this is news to anybody. I'm not relatively that explosive either. I'm more explosive than I am fast for sure. First step is fine. It's the other one's that a little slow. But like because of my learning how to cut in ultimate, and just like learning how to like really take advantage of the limited space you're in, because like in ultimate, especially you watch like handlers try to pass around and cut around each other, and then such small spaces. And running these tight little routes just to get open for like a 3-foot pass, right? Just to get the pass off before the stall counts down. And so utilizing stuff like that in quadball is like so underrated, because people just like don't know how to move like that. They're just not used to having to like move, make another cut to get open. And so like for example, like again, I am not a great chaser. I play beater, obviously, but when I do play chaser, a skill that I think I do have is that if we were being pressed, especially if it was chasers pressing us and I'm like off ball, I guarantee you that there is a short list of people who could deny me from getting that quad ball, just like on that first pass, just because I'm so much better at cutting than most people in quad ball. And it's not because I'm that good at it, it's because most people are really bad at it. And that's something that I've brought too. It's just like using that skill, right? Another part of that is because they cut so much, they are, I think as ultimate players, way more intentional and thoughtful about the physicality behind it, including like their knee health. And so like when I first started playing ultimate and ultimate, when you catch the disc, you have to like de-accelerate. Usually it's like you get like 2 steps to slow down, or it can slow down as long as you're not using it to like change direction or whatever. For the longest time, I would like catch a disc and then just like one plant and try to stop every time. And especially after I started playing ultimate more often, I was playing in a league like 2-3 times a week. Plus, I had quadball on the weekends. I started to have really bad foot pain and ankle pain and knee pain. And it was because I was just slamming my knees into the ground. And so after realizing that, being more intentional, I would watch really good ultimate players play and people that I was playing with the league who were really high-level players, and watching like the softness in which they like break down and like how many steps they really use to chop. I've always known to chop your feet and everything, but to that extent and that common is like a whole other level of intentionality I didn't have. And so that was something that I've been more intentional about. But yeah, between the cutting and that, those are the big ones. I would actually say that what's really interesting is Ultimate is pretty new compared to Ultimate, and even compared to Quadball. It's like, it feels like Quadball in that like it's everyone that plays Ultimate for the most part is an Ultimate player.
And they have champs at Round Rock.
And they actually, I was watching, when I first started getting really into playing competitive Gulti, I watched the Nationals film of like the last tournament they had. And I was like, oh my God, this is in Round Rock, the same complex that Boot Camp won Nationals at. And I looked, and they played this tournament a week before we won Nationals, a week later, in the same place. And I was like, you're playing on pitch 1. I was like, we beat Warriors there. That's crazy. So that was really funny. But yeah, it's one of those things where like, Ultimate is a similar size as Quadball is right now. And a lot of Ultimate players still try to play Ultimate like Ultimate, and they fail. And so me not being a great Ultimate player, I'll bring things from Quadball over into Ultimate, and it's like blowing people's minds. like no one in Ultimate knows how to set a pick. And so they're in Goldie trying to set picks, and they look like dorks. And I'm like, this is how you set a pick. And I'm teaching people how to catch bodies in Ultimate, or like post up or blocking people out. I'm like, oh yeah, let me use my hips on somebody. Ultimate players have no idea what to do.
It's over.
Yeah, it's over. And so it's one of those things where, like, again, I've brought out other Quadball teammates, and I think we, right off the bat, have a lot higher skill level than a lot of Ultimate players coming over, because yeah, they can throw the disc better, but we can do all the other aspects of the game better inherently just from playing Quadball, which is really cool. And something that I've had to convince Ultimate people, being like, you guys should like do this when playing defense instead of doing it like Ultimate. You should play it like Quadball like defense, or play it like basketball defense or something. So that's been really cool from my experience, that of the back and forth of it, not just one to the other.
100%. Yeah, I think one of the big things that I've taken from rugby to quadball, especially in 15s, is like one person can't win that game. And it's especially in 15s. Like if you try and hero ball in 15s, your teammates are going to be really upset. Like if you go and watch a 15s rugby game, you're going to watch a lot of things where you're like, what was the purpose of what you were doing here? And as a forward, I do that a lot, where my goal is to just run into someone as hard as I can, get 3 meters. And then we do it 3 times in a row, and then their defense all compresses, and then we pass it out to the really speedy people on the edge. And
yes,
then they get
I've seen that happen. Yes,
and they go. And like my sole job is like, I'm not trying to score a goal; it's to hit. Or we played a game where like I wasn't carrying a lot, but I was with the wingers, and my one job is, one of the things you can do in rugby is someone reaches over to grab the ball. My job was to smash people over and over off of that position, and then hold the ground and have people smash back into me to knock me off.
How do you sign up for that again?
Dude,
that sounds awesome.
It's crazy. And so that was my whole job that game. And like they almost had a poach, which is when you pick it up, cleared this guy out. Then we moved the ball and we scored a try. And I was like, cool, that's perfect. And I think about that and sometimes in quad ball, where it's like, hey, if you're making a cut or a beater is stepping to you and you never get the ball and that opens it up for someone else, or, you know, say you're seeking, right? And you don't catch, but you make a sweet swat and you get control back, right? Or you're putting enough pressure that their beaters stay in the flag game. Okay, then maybe our beaters, and that seeker isn't catching. Okay, our beater can go into the chasing game right now, and then we can score some goals. And so that kind of mindset shift where it's like, hey, there's a lot of other people going on here around in this game. I think the thing I took from quadball is crazy complicated. And rugby is also crazy complicated.
Yes.
And I
Less
think
than
sevens,
Yeah.
but in 15s, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so I played rugby less than a year. And some of what I do think I'm at the level of knowledge of the game, in part because I had to learn another incredibly complicated game in which you need to be able to read and predict and see things sooner than they're happening. And I think while I was learning a ton playing rugby, I think it clicked a lot quicker because I was like, oh, cool. Like, there's just so much going on and nuances that you have to think 3 steps ahead or like move between all these sorts of things. So I think that's kind of what I took from rugby and like what quadball's given me.
So let's talk a little bit more like life logistics. One of the things I've noticed from covering sports besides quadball is that we're not the only one with a packed schedule. Like people rag on year-round quadball all the time, but ultimate people don't stop playing ultimate. It's crazy because there's national team competitions, there's international club competitions that happen like kind of outside the club season. Touch never seems to stop. Flag always has something going on. So how are you fitting this in your calendars? Are you just tired all the time? Are you in ice baths when you're not on the field? Like, what's your life like?
It's tough. So I play 6 hours of rugby in season during the week. So 2 3-hour practices a week. And then I'd have weekends where I'd play 80 minutes and go to a 3-hour heat practice on Sunday.
In Texas.
I would work out the other days too, but like as I think about doing cardio, I wouldn't run in season, so I stay on a bike in season to get cardio to reduce impact. I'll do lifting, but nothing crazy. It's kind of just more focused on like full body movement is my big priority. And I would try and sleep a ton. But like rugby, we had games every single weekend. So we would have as soon as the season starts, we're playing 80 minutes every single weekend for, I think it was 6 weeks straight. And then we had a whole week off of practice. So like that's one of the things they do in rugby, which is interesting. If we have a break before something, they'll just fully cancel practice just to give time to recover. Like I was lucky this season, knock on wood, I had no major rugby injuries, but we would just lose people. Like that's the other thing about rugby is you'll just lose people over the course of the season due to like no fault of their own, but like that's part of the sport. So it was like sleeping, being smart about how I worked out to like minimize recovery time post while like maintaining what I needed, sort of thing. Yeah, it's a ton. Points.
For me, mine's a little different just because I don't compete at such a high level with Ultimate, and Ultimate is these two affairs. But that's something that's happening soon. Like I'm going to my first Goldie Nationals, hopefully this next December. I would have been to one that just happened, but I'm trying to get a group of quadball people to play on the team because we've gotten at this point enough. We've had like Liam, Nathan, Kennedy, Ben, Allie, several quadball people come out and play. Be pretty good. We actually had a tournament in Schaumburg. We had a team of just quadball people play Goldie, and then one of my frisbee friends who played with us, and we were holding a lot of my other friends on a mixed club team who were pretty good. We held them scoreless for like 8 minutes, and they were livid. They were so mad. And me and my friend Jess were like, "Yo, they're mad. They're mad that like these 5 of them have never thrown a frisbee ever." It was like Byron Ing, Ariana from from Illinois. It was just some of these people had never thrown a frisbee ever, and like instantly good at defense. None of us could throw. It was hilarious. But in general, though, trying to get team of quad people to go to nationals. But outside of that, for me, it's like I'm trying to play as competitive as I can until then. So there's like a weekly pickup that happens in Chicago. It's usually on a Saturday or Sunday. There's like a Google group that plays, and there's also usually a league that is in season. Every season has a different league. As well as over winter, they started doing these like competitive runs for in Chicago. They don't play full Goldie rules with full contact because a lot of people are scared of contact that are ultimate players. So they set up the specific like invite competitive Goldie where you can play with the full rules and play with the picks and play with the contact and everything. But for me, it was interesting because like I work a pretty hard schedule of work. That's something I have to incorporate as a chef. I'm working like usually a minimum 50-hour weeks most weeks. So that plus playing Goldie 6 hours a week, plus we'll have our quadball practices. We have our traincations that we've been doing that are like throughout the weekend.
Traincations?
That's what we've been calling them. They're like our big practices where people like Joanne will fly in from out of town. So we have like Joanne, Haley fly in, Sarah Nealing from Louisiana, our Detroit contingent, our Michigan contingent, our Kansas City, Missouri contingent. People would come in for these big weekends. outside of our normal practices. And so those ones are what, 10, 12 hours of practice in 2 days?
Yeah.
So that plus 6 hours of goalkeeping throughout the week plus a 50-hour work week, like, adds up a ton. So for me, it's about, just trying to figure out, like, for me, I'm not trying to lift for strength as much. For me, it's like lifting is for like maintaining and like mobility, just because I don't need, for the two sports I'm playing, strength is not what I need. Like, that's fine. I don't think anyone's in quadball saying Tad's not strong enough. I think people who've been stiff armed to the ground by me can attest that I'm strong enough. I'm not saying I'm that strong. I'm strong enough for quadball. If I was playing rugby, I'd probably be trying to bulk up a bit. And like for ultimate, same thing. Like, strength isn't really necessarily something I need more so much as just cardio. So a lot of it for me is trying to do low impact cardio. I'm a cyclist in the city, so I commute to work like almost every day, especially when the weather's nice. That gets me at least 12 to 15 miles every day. And I usually do more on top of that. Play goaltee, have the traincations, try to be active in general, maybe a pickleball every now and then. My big thing is to, and what's happened a lot, and I feel like kind of even the bigger goal of this whole thing is playing multiple sports is so important physically, because especially people who have played for so long, like us two, even you, 8 years at this point, especially if quadball is your only sport, which is for a lot of people in quadball. Quadball is the first sport they've ever played competitively. It's all they play competitively. All their athletic movements they've developed are only quadball movements, and that's how you get to overuse and injury. It's because you only know how to do those things, and your body can't do stuff in other ways. And so physically, it's good to do multi-sport athletes, so your body has like a deeper bag of like what it can do, and you're not getting burnt out physically on doing the same motions because you're doing other stuff, but also mentally. Like, I think for all of us probably felt this before, there's diminishing returns on how much better we can all get as players at this point. I'm 33 years old. I'm not going to have some revelation in the next year or two that's going to up me to like the next level of being a quadball player. Everything I'm doing now to improve is small stuff, or changing stuff, or like pulling out old tricks, or learning maybe a couple small new ones. Whereas it's really mentally fulfilling to go play another sport and like have huge gains. Like, it's so nice to be really bad.
So
and then like I forgot how good that feels, because I've been
so
pretty good at quadball for so long. It's just like, man, it feels good to like suck at something and get good at it. And it's good for your brain. It gives you dopamine, and like
That's awesome.
It's great. And like you talked about your rugby and quadball practices. When the very first year MLQ came to New Orleans in 2015, I was the head coach. And we would have practice 3 to 6 in the LBC Quad at Tulane. New Orleans heat, middle of the summer, 100% humidity. We would also have shotgun club ultimate practices. The first club ultimate team I played on from 12 to 3. So I did 12 to 3 ultimate practices, get my ass kicked. That's like the 21st person. Don't know what I'm doing at all. Just like getting yelled at, like a lot of learning and growing. And then the next 3 hours, I'm the guy. Like, I'm in charge now. I have to know everything. It was like such a mental challenge. It was something I'm so grateful for. And I feel like people might not think I'm humble. I think I'm pretty damn humble about myself as a player. And a lot of it comes down, I'm like the most humble actually, as a player. And a lot of it comes to the fact that like, I know that I suck at other sports. And I feel like a lot of quadball people, y'all need to get a reality check and go suck at another sport for a minute.
Literally, second rugby practice I ever had, I messed something up, and I don't know if we're allowed to cuss.
You can.
Sick. But the guy goes, he was like, what the fuck were you doing? We were playing defense. I was like, this is my second practice. He's like, that's not a fucking excuse. And I immediately was like, okay, cool. I'm going to play this sport for a really long time, because that mindset was epic. And I was like, I was like, oh, I'm bad. This is awesome. Like, I'm learning something. Like, it's like, there's always room to grow in this sport, but I was like, oh, I'm doing something totally new. I have no idea what I'm doing. This is so much fun. that was fun.
Oh, Joanne, something I was surprised about with touch was like the level of enthusiasm everyone has. I mean, the first thing I was surprised by was like, wow, this is really the Kiwi and Aussie social hour, because basically anyone who's an expat comes and play touch. So I was just like, it was like living in Flight of the Conchords all the time.
The entire New York team, both the men and the females team at nationals, was just Aussie and New Zealanders.
It was incredible. Like, so that was the first shock. The second shock was just like how evangelical they were. They're like, you want to get on the pitch? And I'm like, no, I'm fine with my camera. Like, I'm great.
Yeah, they definitely really love to share the sport. I think it's definitely bigger than quadball, but they face very similar challenges with like touch rugby as well, in terms of how to grow the sport and how to get players to like come. But I really, really second like what Tad was saying in terms of like different ways of movement. Because when I first started touch rugby, like I loved all the learning. I loved that I suck at the sport. I was learning. And then as I started to grow in the sport, and like I am by no means like a good touch rugby player, but like I can play on the field and make an impact.
You made the Canadian national team. Let's not sell yourself short.
Okay, sure. But I'm like, I'm still rookie in that team.
I watched you play multiple games.
But as I was playing touch rugby, I'm like, you know what? I don't think I'm ready to give up quadball yet because I'm not ready to give up the contact part of it. Like, I love that touch rugby has no contact and like flag really has no contact. But I wasn't ready to give up. I was like, how long can I do this and show like and have my body be able to do it? And it's not really like a challenge to my body, but I want my body to be able to sustain that for as long as possible, even if it means pulling back a little bit. So like as I've grown in these sports and like added these sports into my life and my calendar, I've learned to say no a lot more to different like tournaments or different opportunities. And just know like, okay, you know what? I have something coming up in like 3 weeks. I will strength train when I can, like especially with my job too. Sometimes it's hard to get in a training session, so I'll do like 30 minutes here and there, but definitely like no impact cardio at all. So I don't run. Like I'll do maybe 5-10 minute plyos like 2 to 3 times a week, if that. But just keeping in shape and then really knowing like, okay, how much can my body take right now? What injuries am I managing at the moment? In order so that I can play this tournament or I can play these games as effectively as possible. And then after that, to be like, oh, you know what? I can't do anything for a week. And that's okay. I think like a year or two ago, and it's like, I would be like, no, I have to work out. Like, I got to follow this program. But then now it's like, you know what? I won't lose anything if I don't follow the program. And if I do keep going, I will probably just like diminish, like my play will be worse, my strength will be worse. So yeah, the recovery part, and it's always a mental challenge. It's like playing Tetris with like how much I can do and how much my body can do. And like as I age too, right? As I age in all of these sports, we see all of these younger rookies come in and like they're incredible and they can play 4 or 5 games a day and wake up the next day and being like, I feel amazing. And I'm just like hobbling along like off the bed, which is probably what I'm going to look like on Sunday. But it's okay. It's just like knowing your body, knowing what you can handle, knowing if you do have a little injury and it's like, you know what, I might not be able to play this game and like being okay with that. Especially as like, if we do get injured these days, a lot of times it impacts our lifestyle. It impacts like a lot of our jobs, right? Being a chef, and I'm up and about with my job with clients as well. And I love the sport. I love the atmosphere, but it's not something that I can really like risk either. So yeah, it's a constant lesson.
Yeah. You know how hard it is to use a chef's knife when you have a sprained thumb from the beater? Which, if you're a beater, you've had a sprained thumb. It's just like beater thumb is just such a big thing at this point. But like, it's the worst. Yeah, getting injured and having to go to work at a job where you like need your body is a nightmare scenario. Yeah. I separated my shoulder once while I worked at a bakery, and I was supposed to be in a sling for like 2 weeks. So I'm trying to roll dough with one arm, still faster than everyone else, but I still wasn't going faster, like fast as I needed. Except for like 4 days, I was like, it's fine. I just kept rolling. I should have just kept it on for 2 weeks, but I couldn't afford it. So, lesson to everybody: take care of yourself.
Yeah, take care of yourself. I know way too many quadball players that have like 5-6 injuries that keep recurring, and they don't go see anyone about it, and then it just gets worse and worse until something really tears, or they really can't move, and then it just takes 10 times longer to rehab. So like, if you have the ability to go get something checked out, if you've got a nagging injury or something, please go get it checked out. If it's nothing amazing, you'll get some physio. You'll actually probably be better a player if you get some physio for it.
True.
So real.
Yeah, when I tore my foot this summer, which I did, I tore my plantar fascia.
Oh God.
Playing rugby. I was chasing someone in a pond.
I didn't know that could tear.
It's very rare. So if you,
You're that good at it.
it's incredibly rare to do. It is
Overachiever
very,
from Middlebury
very
College
hard
right
to
here.
tear your plantar fascia. So my plantar fascia tore in the way. If you have plantar fasciitis and it never heals, they'll eventually cut your plantar fascia just to heal the plantar fasciitis. That I just did it on my own accord. So I wore a boot for a month and a half, and I did nothing for a month.
Oh my gosh.
And I fully let it heal, and really took time, and nothing. I don't know it's there. And that was a big moment for me because I was like, oh yeah, you really just have to do that. Like I played through other stuff. Like MOQ Champs 2014, I had frozen shoulder that I got earlier that year and just played with frozen shoulder. And after that, I was like, probably not going to do that again. And then that was a big one for me. I was like, yeah, cool. It's good to get that time, let the body heal. And then I made it through 15 season because I took that time to take care of myself.
And especially as those of us that have been in the sport in a while, we're no longer in our 20s. I'm no longer in my 30s.
I'm
And
23 years old.
this one just turned 21. What are we talking about?
Exactly.
But yeah, the recovery time just takes so much longer in a way that I don't think we all fully appreciate.
Sleep, for the love of God.
No,
sleep.
that-
It's like the
yes.
thing, guys.
Y'all, if you see you're waking up a lot, get yourself tested for sleep apnea. Because I have a CPAP machine now.
Game changer.
Game changer. Okay, I just have genetic sleep apnea, and I wake up refreshed. It's made a huge difference in my life. Like I breathe at night now, insane. Sleep, just sleep. Like literally.
Another sleep tip, just consistent sleep schedule. I don't care if you sleep at 1 a.m., but sleep at 1 a.m. every single night and then wake up at like 8 a.m. every single morning. Just be consistent. Don't sleep at 9 one night, 11 the other, 1 another. That even if you get 10, 15 hours of sleep, it will not recover the same.
I don't care if you're one of those people that's like, oh, I can do fine on like 5 hours of sleep. You can't. It's a lie. Your body thinks you can. It lies to you. I was that person.
You're not.
I
at
still
that
sometimes
level.
am that person, even though I have data on my Whoop to say otherwise. I'll trick myself. Yeah.
I'll be like, I have sleep apnea.
Yeah, I'll be like,
literally, it was like you're waking. My aura ring was like, wait a second, you woke up 9 times last night from deep sleep. Something's going on, and I was like, yep. I get that looked at.
I worked a schedule at one point where I was in 2 full-time jobs. I'd work 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Prep cook at one job, and I'd work 2:30 until like 11:30 midnight at another job. And then I would bike home, and then I would probably most nights a week get 3 to 4 hours of sleep. And then I would do one big sleep on Sunday. I'd do like a 13-hour
Doesn't
sleep
work.
on Sunday.
Doesn't
And I thought I was crushing. I was falling asleep on my lunch break, or I was falling asleep while like cutting vegetables standing up. That's crazy. I thought I was doing fine. And then it was actually Nathan Digman, who he was one of the first people on our team to get a Whoop. Shout out Whoop. As well as Matthew Fiebig. And he recommended, he's like, your sleep's really bad, dude. I'm like kind of worried about you. We should like check out Whoop. And so I got it, and then the first like couple of weeks, Whoop was like, "You're dying." It was like, "What are you doing?"
Bully you.
The Whoop
bullies
It
you.
was like, "Yeah, you got 2% recovery today. You're gonna die." You should not
Like you're in the red, brother.
And at some point, and then I'd realize, on my big sleep days, I'd get like a 70%, and I'd be like, "Wow, I feel great." And I was like, "What if I did this more times?" It led to me quitting one of my jobs and then just having a full-time job. I worked 50 hours instead of like 80 to 90 hours a week, and gave me a lot better work-life balance, and let me focus on sleep more, and it helped me in a lot mentally and physically in a ton of ways. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping people aren't as bad down on sleep as I was at that point.
Sleep.
But I hope if you're even close to that, for the love of God, start
Get a
getting
Whoop.
sleep.
Get a Whoop band.
Get a Whoop. Shout out Whoop.
If you took one thing away, you better start sleeping.
Now we're gonna cut to the Whoop commercial that Mary has queued up.
I love it. I don't. I gotta say the Fitbit is not that judgy. I feel like I'm really
You
missing
need the
out.
bully. I need the bully.
I actually had the Whoop, and then it bullied me, so I
I
switched
switched
to
to
Aura
the
Ring.
Aura Ring. The Whoop bullied me too much.
I like it. I like
Whoop
the
was
bully.
like, get to bed
I
right
need-
now.
I
You
need
big
it-
dad.
I need it to be mean to me for it to work. I need some
So
self-love.
mean.
It is
It's
kind
so
of mean. It'd be like, you haven't had consistent bedtimes lately. And I'm like, you're right, I haven't.
So you want to get up for a walk.
Yeah,
Okay.
the whoop can be pretty damning, which is great. I think that's why a lot of the boom train people like it, because we're all little data nerds. I think we're all obsessed with it.
You all are all pretty nice too, so I think maybe you benefit from that.
Yeah?
Get a little bit of
Drills.
edge.
Yeah, maybe. They are. The boom people are too nice. I've had to yell at them sometimes. You guys are too nice. You need to be meaner. One day, this is a side note. This is one time there was 2 years. The year we won nationals. We went to a cherry blossom tournament with DCQC and Bosnia and like monuments.
Yeah.
And Bosnia beat us with 12 people.
Yes.
And it wasn't even Bosnia's 12 best. It was just 12 Bosnia. And they beat
Those are the best Bosnia tournaments we've shown.
and they
13
beat
people. It's
a
like,
full strength boom train roster, and I was livid. I was like, I wouldn't mind losing to actual Bosnia, but it was just 12 random Bosnia players. They were in the car, and Nathan, who's like the most composed, like chill guy, he was like, I'm so fucking pissed off right now. And I was like, you should say that more often. I was like, I've never heard you be this mad about it before ever.
that was such a funny group of people that went to that tournament.
I respected it, and I was like, I can't be mad at them. They killed us.
I think, the only tournament that year Bosnia showed up with 21 people was nationals.
And that year was a really close game in the semis. It was a crazy close game.
That was
But
that
it was.
was so silly.
Nathan is very nice. A lot of the boom people are really nice. But actually, the whoop needs you to be mean.
Maybe
Whoop
that's
gets
why
you
they all
locked in.
have whoop, so that at home they can be yelled at a little bit.
I feel like it's a little piece of Tad on my wrist.
It is. They're like of all the people telling people to go to sleep on the team, it's definitely still not me.
Yeah.
Nathan Digman's like, I've been trying to stay up late to practice the fact we're going to be up late on Saturday and Sunday because of the hour change. And I was like, brother, I do this all the time. I was like, I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm like, it's.
Okay, well, in closing, what I want to know is you can teleport one thing, not necessarily like a rules change, but like one thing you've learned or one thing you want to see from your other sport into quadball. What are you teleporting?
I'm going to start first because I'm curious whether this happens on Peter's rugby team. Is court. A concept of court.
Just had kangaroo court
They did,
last
yeah.
weekend.
So this concept of kangaroo court is really common in rugby and touch rugby as well. And it's basically at the beginning of the tournament, 2 players on the team are appointed. One is appointed a judge, and one is appointed a
Prosecutor? Do you do prosecutor? 'Cause
yeah,
we did. We had
prosecutor.
like
a prosecutor and then a judge. And so throughout the trip, whether you have to travel there, like before, at the beginning of the travel, that's when it starts, till the end of the tournament, anyone on the team can send the prosecutor a fine about any one of their teammates. So a fine can be, for example, touch rugby is really common at every single tournament. Someone would go for a try on the wrong try line. Like they're not at the try line, but then if the lines aren't drawn correctly, they will try and score. So for example, that is a fine. And then at the end of the tournament, everyone will get together for kangaroo court. And then the judge will look at the list of fines and determine which one to fine and what the fines are. And one of my kangaroo courts, like, for example, some of the fines are alcohol-based, of course. But one of them was, one guy was just really, really mouthy and, like, just started yelling at the other team and their own teammates. And so for the fine was he had to put a Band-Aid, like multiple Band-Aids across his, like, mouth. And the whole time, like, when he went out to the after party and stuff, he couldn't talk. Like, if he wanted to talk, he had to take it off, and then he could talk, and then he had to put it back on. And it's one of the funniest things.
I had no
That was
idea.
awesome.
kangaroo court is sick.
I played rugby for a semester in college. I don't think we ever did this. I feel like we really missed out.
We do ours end of year, so it's fines that have accumulated the entire year.
Oh,
And there it
every
gets
time.
gnarly.
And it's like it's team internal. It's not like
Yes, it's team
internal,
internal. So we
yeah.
had a judge wearing like a hat. Like,
Yeah.
I got fined for missing a rugby game to play quadball, and I was convicted.
You had to serve real hard time.
I had to serve hard time that day. But I think the other thing that I think is that, like, there's just, you know how in quadball the question is, they always ask us, like, do you guys fly? Like, we should have lineouts in quadball. Like, I just think that'd be hilarious. For those who don't know what a lineout is
they
in
look so
rugby,
good.
so I'm one of the people that gets picked up in that. And it's
They
when
pick you up?
Yeah,
I guess you are.
I get uppies.
Yeah. Wow. I guess because you are in
I'm
rugby
long.
terms.
I'm
Yeah.
not big. So for those at home, a line out is when the tallest person gets picked up on both
Let me
sides.
see if I have a picture.
I think they might have sent a photo of
Yeah.
me doing a line out. That's the closest in any sport someone gets to fly. And it's like the tallest person being lifted by two other very tall people. My hands are probably 12 feet in the air to catch a ball being thrown from someone. Like the line out is just arguably the coolest thing.
Okay.
I think like athletic thing that happens in any sport. It's just silly. And it was just like, well, this is the best way to get the ball in. Because you can't tackle someone if they're in the air. And so the lifting part, if they lift and catch, you can't make contact with them. So it literally evolved because of other rules in the game. To be like,
There we
this is how
go.
end down the wall.
It is cropping horribly,
But
and
yes.
I can't move it. But you can see on the picture, the butts are in the
Yeah,
center.
that's
But
it.
yeah, they lift you up
Don't
in
they
the
grab you by
air.
the shorts?
In
Is that
sevens,
something else?
so in
Okay.
sevens, they'll grab you. I've learned how to do this. It's like two thumbs in the shorts, and you literally grab them by the
I've
back of the
seen
shorts.
clips
So I
of
get
that.
picked up like that in sevens
Okay.
too.
Interesting. That's
Yeah.
fun.
So the line out is crazy. That's like the
Court-
coolest thing that happens.
court and line
Courts
out.
and lineouts.
Yeah.
Like if we did stuff like that, that'd be so
It
I have
makes
a-
for incredible photos, honestly. Like I feel like all of my favorite rugby photos I've taken are in lineouts.
Lineouts are a strong.
One of my players in my Toronto team had to take a bite out of an onion at
Yeah,
one point.
that's a good
That
one.
was a fine.
That's so good.
Let's just say he did not have any friends at the after party.
Yeah, you get onion breath. It's over.
I have two answers to this, and one kind of builds off what Joanne was talking about with court, or what you were talking about with court. The first one, this is interesting. It sucks because we couldn't do it now, but I think had we started like this, it could have been something about kind of doing what Ultimate does, where at especially lower levels of the sport, it's self-officiated. I have really liked how an Ultimate, again, there's like a gentleman's agreement for what contact you're allowed to make, or even just like how people are acting, and people in teams are way better about holding themselves accountable in Ultimate than they are in Quadball, and I think it's really cool. I also think had we started off with that, I think the culture of Quadball when it started would have been really, really receptive to it for the most part. And just like in Ultimate, teams that are unspirited like don't get invited places, or people talk about them being unspirited, and it would have like naturally just happened over time. And to where now, I think at a logistics level, like they don't have to pay for referees until start getting to like regionals and qualifiers and the nationals and stuff. They don't even have actual referees until UFA. They have observers, which is volunteers who they'll let people still discuss and call fouls. And I think after a minute, you probably won't know this than I do, but after a minute of discussion, if they haven't come to discussion yet, the observer will come over, see what they say, and say what the card is or the play is, and that's it. But it gives players a chance to go through it a lot, which I think people in Quadball hear this and they're like, oh, that's crazy. People would never do that. People would lie too much or argue too much. Again, I think if we started it that way, it would have been fine. Coming for it now, I think it would be tough. But also, too, like, it's nice because it's kind of like we all want to – there's this idea in Ultimate, because it's also timed, that, like, between the arguments, between the time doesn't stop the whole time. And so you don't want to argue because you want to play.
Yeah.
And so your teammates, if you're arguing with someone about something, your teammates are like, shut up, we want to play the game. And so there's incentive there, and I feel like that lacks in Quadball. Because I feel like, again, if we started with it, I feel like people would have generally been pretty on board with it, and people would have been better about holding their teammates accountable on stuff and giving perspective on stuff. And it would have been nice to be able to, like, there are moments in Ultimate, even at the competitive level, like there's a really big play where this like guy on Team USA, veteran, seems like Christian Boxley, and there's this younger dude, really athletic, named Noel Coolman. There's a play just went up in the air. Boxley's going up to get it, and Coolman's running down and just completely skies Boxley and just bodies him for it. And Boxley gets up, observer comes over, issues a yellow card. Boxley turns down the yellow card on Coolman and was like, that was a great play, and like continues to play, right? And like that level of sportsmanship, again, this is like, it was like a club semi, I think, too. Like the level of sportsmanship there was just like insane. And I think there would be moments for Quadball players to display that if they were given the option, and we're never really given that. Which stems in my next thing I was going to say is that with court, this is more of an internal thing. With court, it sounds like, but in general, something that Ultimate does is they're really big about spirit between teams. Like at different tournaments and stuff, like the different level of tournament, like a really chill tournament. There's like people are playing drunk, and there's like jokes, and they'll do, and afterwards they do like spirit games and stuff. And get to know each other, which is really fun. Some of it can be like a little cringy sometimes, for sure. I get that, but overall, I think it's really good and really good team building. And when I first got into quad ball, there was so much inter-team mingling, and you became friends with. I mean, to this day, like Jackson Johnson's still one of my best friends, and it's because we used to hang out at parties and stuff after tournaments in the Southwest all the time, like a lot of old, like, it's a state group, or even that really old Baylor group that doesn't really play around anymore, like David Gilbert and all them. I was really good friends with them, coming up. And so it's like really nice. It sucks that it's not as much a thing in the sport anymore, because I feel like that also hurts, like, it makes the divisions deeper, I guess. Like, how can you say you make a play in a game which has happened to me a lot. I'll tackle someone, they aren't happy about it, people are mad about it. In the past, we'd see them at an after party, we're all drunk, I'm like, so sorry about that, or like, I hope you're okay, blah, 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 which sometimes I'd have moments on the field to have those, right? And almost all the time, people are cool about it, we dab each other up, and it's like, fine, but you don't get to have those moments as much anymore. And because of that, you just create this like animosity, and people leave thinking other people are like mean or cheaters or like this, when in reality, our community is very nice. And I think even if people are mean to people on other teams, within their team, they're very well liked. Like, I don't think there's as many toxic or bad people in sport as we think there are. It's just our limited experiences playing against them, and these like little things that happen that we don't get to like fix because we don't allow ourselves to like interact in these spirited, cool, fun ways like other sports do.
After rugby matches, you cook food for the other team, and you tried to kill each other for 80 minutes, and then you get in line to eat food together and drink beer. And everything's gone. And that's it. And it's crazy. Like, you could have almost tried to fight someone on pitch, and then afterwards it's like, that was kind of crazy, wasn't it? I guess it was. And then it's fine. That being said, I want to clarify. I've talked about fighting a few times in rugby. I have never engaged. 50 years ago. I have seen it happen a ton.
I want to point out, this is my tad hot take, is that no matter what happens in a quadball game, if you don't high five in a handshake line, you're a coward and a loser. And no matter,
get behind that. You high five in rugby. Doesn't
everybody.
Matter.
Especially because in quadball, nothing actually that bad has ever happened in a quadball game. You know what I mean? Like, to not high five someone over, I think it's ridiculous. If you don't do that, you are such a dork. And I'm saying that right now on camera.
Everyone, make sure you high five Tad tomorrow if you play.
Or alternatively, no one high five Tad. That is the alternative. Everyone skip Tad.
Everyone pulls
Choose your own battles.
You got to be careful with that, though.
I've had people square up base beat me on purpose in the base after the game. I'm like, good game, dude. I might not be happy about it, but
okay, to add to the spirit though, something that rugby does too as well is that every team will have often a theme for a costume for the after party. Well, for court and after party. So some of the themes are like, like beach themed, and it's like 30 degrees out or like 20 degrees out, super cold. Or another theme would be like inflatable costumes. So the entire team is like walking into this hotel room, usually is like where the court is, and then afterwards the entire inflatable costume team walks to the bar for the after party. Anyways, it just brings the spirit of the sport up and about, and like really like community based. It's fun.
One example of this is a couple of years ago, really early, the second year of Boom Train maybe. It was 2019. Summer 2019. I took a summer off. I didn't know COVID was going to happen, so I didn't get to do two-hand tackling until after COVID, which was wild. I didn't get to do it until after COVID. But that summer, a bunch of Boom Train people took off Indy/Prowl, and a lot of us played. There's a big sand ultimate tournament in Chicago here called Sand Blast. People travel from all around the world to play in, and we had a team of Boom Train people. We had Boom Train Ultimate played at this tournament, and every tournament had a theme. Ours was Dad's on vacation, so we all wore like Hawaiian shirts. And they had like Boom Train Ultimate. Someone like embroidered them on it for us. And then every team would have a spirit point, where for one point of the game, you'd have to do some weird thing while you're playing. And ours is that we brought brooms for people. And so we made ultimate players ride a broom for a point of ultimate. We lost every ultimate. We lost every quad ball point in ultimate. We lost every single one. And all the ultimate teams beat us and got the point on it, which was frustrating. But like, people loved it. And like, it was such a cool way to like, people laughed and we talked about it, and then it led to the spirit stuff afterwards. It's just like, people talked about the loss of fantasy tournaments with MLQ, or like honestly, for me, it's just like the loss of like casual play in quadball. Like non-serious play is a really great way for people to learn things without the pressure of being like, I need to like do things right at practice or play this certain way, especially now that quadball is being very efficiency based and very like, here are the things you have to do right and very nuanced. And so like the lack of pickups and the lack of fantasy and the lack of these ways for people to play casually is like, I think, hurting the sport, and that it's not letting people fully develop or play like even the level of quadball they want. Not everyone wants to play on a travel team. That's what I like about Ultimate, is that there's leagues and pickup, and it helps you have more players, but like we also put that much effort in as a sport into these things either. Of like letting people, like there's a lot of people who would play quadball way more casually if it wasn't just the only way you can play is to sign up for Boom Train. like I'm like, hey, you should come play quadball. They're like, when can I play? And I'm like, we have a traincation in Northwest Indiana like 3 weekends from now, and they're just like, no, man. Yeah, like what are you asking me?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another thing too I'm very jealous of.
Well, I feel like we could keep going, but unfortunately, Commissioner Dallas has decided that all tournaments this season start at 8 a.m. So actually,
And sleep is important.
this is a wonderful rule in practice. I just don't like it until I'm there. So thank you for joining us. Thank you to my panelists for gabbing about things besides quadball. I really appreciate it. And watch them this weekend on Heat, Boom Train, and Boom Train. And we'll see if they play each other in the finals.
Just watch the finals.
It'll be so
High
great.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh,
You got that?
Okay, have a good night. Bye, everyone.